So we don't have the winner just yet, but we do know this. There is one number that's key: 242 pints of blood. That is exactly how many the University of Miami donated this week for the Battle of the Bucket Challenge.
Isaiah, the images of the devastation are almost unimaginable.
Yes, Rebecca, unimaginable is the best word to describe it. The worst of the hurricane hit as a powerful Category 4 storm, and you can see the devastation it left behind. Had hundreds of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas students were sitting in a classroom just like this one. Many of them were expecting to head home after the school day. Then, shots rang out. Fire rescue officials say that one 30-year-old landscaper was electrocuted and is in critical condition while working on one Key Biscayne home down this block. Moving on, Parkinson's disease affects more than 200,000 people in the U.S. every year. And even though there are advanced methods to diagnose the illness, the equipment to do that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. One person is dead at the scene of a wrong-way driver accident on I-95 and Northwest 103rd Street. Now, if you look behind me, Florida Highway Patrol says the driver is a male with a Kia SUV who was traveling northbound in a southbound express lane. Now, Portia, all the talks of Florence remind me of the urgency we had just a year ago with Irma. School was closed for almost 3 weeks. The Hurricanes already had lost 2 of their stars from the previous season, so it's safe to say Coach Jim Larinaga is both relieved and excited to put DeJuan right in the forefront and the center of this offense. Here at the Funky Buddha, they have tons of crazy flavors that you would never even think of. But one beer that caught the attention of many people in Miami was a flavor called Landry's Tears. It is hot right now here at Hard Rock Stadium. She needs it. We're just minutes away from the Hurricanes' ACC opener against North Carolina. Adams pitched on a mound, much like the one right next to me, back in the late 1940s on one of the first Miami Hurricanes baseball teams ever. But tonight there's a little extra incentive. Cat 5U bucket hat giveaway. First 50 students get to rock one of these, maybe at tomorrow's 3:30 football game against FSU. That's right, with parties to potlucks, we're going to be surrounded by piles and piles of unhealthy treats. Luckily, our own Justin Stevens has some advice so you don't end up with a stomach like Santa. 2 years ago, Coral Gables resident Alan Lester was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a disorder of the central nervous system that often causes tremors, stiffness in the body, and makes it difficult to balance and move. But programs at the University of Miami Department of Kinesiology and Sports Sciences have helped a great deal.
Before it, I could not drink soup with a spoon. I had to pick the bowl up, and even that was difficult.
Through UM's power and resistance training programs, combined with yoga, Alan has made major improvements.
We can offer physical interventions that are designed to improve the symptoms of the disease.
But one of the department's latest studies is using video game technology to assist in the diagnoses of Parkinson's and make it more cost-effective for everyone. The Xbox Kinect is a $100 piece of what they call depth sensing technology.
What I've been working on for years is to deliver validated or valid tools that can be used in the clinic or at home.
Doctors at the Max Orovitz laboratory have found a way for physicians to easily quantify data when it comes to walking and balance patterns.
So rather than saying, well, I think I see this particular limitation or that particular limitation, we can start to put numbers on these things that give a more exacting analysis of gait or whatever else we're measuring.
Using the Xbox Kinect in conjunction with the training programs offered at UM, the team can evaluate whether each patient has improved in their ability to both walk and retain balance.
So this is huge because this can make us all learn more about the disease and how it's evolved over time.
There is already an Xbox Kinect in the UHealth clinic in Kendall, and UM doctors hope it can one day be used in homes across the country, especially in rural areas that are far away from medical help.
And the results have been very good. And I recommend to anybody.
If you're not safe going to school or in your own home or walking down the street, you can't have a childhood. And that's what we're fighting for.
February 14th was a day like any other for Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School students, until 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz opened fire in the freshman building.
Pretty normal day. I think it was second period, yeah. We had a fire drill. It was normal period up until 2:20, 2:25 when the second one went off, and everyone was like a little confused. Some lady, she's an administrator at the bottom of the stairs, was like screaming. She's like run, like start moving, like run, like screaming at us. And we were all like why is this lady screaming at us? Like what is she doing? Like someone tell her to stop.
There were cops probably 100, 150 cops, one behind the other going 90 miles per hour down our road with their lights on and like getting out with assault rifles. It's unimaginable.
And at that point we hear like pop, pop, pop.
17 people died that day. Sons, daughters, parents, and friends, all lost in a school in what many consider one of the safest cities in Florida.
If we weren't safe in schools, how could we feel safe anywhere else? School, you're supposed to go to school and learn, be with your friends, be with your teacher, and now instead of learning how to write essays, we're learning to write eulogies.
One of the victims, Jamie Guttenberg, was Jordana's best friend.
You should never have to speak at your 14-year-old best friend's funeral. And the night that it happened, I just remember sitting in my bed thinking for hours, like, how is this real life?
We were kind of like robbed of our childhood, I guess you could say, and like, especially if you were in that building, like once you go through something like that, like if you were like hearing those gunshots and watching kids, like seeing those images, like I don't understand how you could move on ever.
The tragedy inspired Jordana, Sam, and many others to make a change. That started with March for Our Lives.
I mean, really, if you look back in our country's history, a lot of these movements were created by and led by our youth. The students are unhappy and they're passionate and they have nothing to lose, and they're fighting for their lives.
Everything we're doing is just showing resilience. Everyone out there in politics, they think that we're just kids, but we're not just kids. If all of our voices come together, maybe they'll eventually get the message and finally make a change.
And the change they are asking for is in gun legislature, something that politician Donna Shalala is supporting in her campaign for Congress.
I hope that they're not patient. I was born impatient. That's the way you get things done. You need to be impatient, and you need to yell very loud so that people pay attention. On this issue, we're talking about life or death.
In just 5 weeks, millions of students and adults have gathered all around the world in protest. Many of them are not even teenagers.
I feel like the march helped not just the students, but everyone come together, and it was an important step in kind of riling everybody up to like, we need to do this now. We need people to go out and vote. We need changes in our country.
Reporting in Parkland, I'm Kim-Martinez, UMTV.